Hi, and welcome back to the Wi-Fi is Out, where we disagree to agree.
With your two hosts, Eros.
And Double T. What'd you think of the slogan I came up with?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it fits us pretty good.
Yeah, especially since we fight a lot just to talk about the same thing.
The arguments we have when we're both saying the same thing, just two different ways. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so true.
So we're recording this after the holidays.
Yeah, the holidays have come and gone. We're getting close to New Year. But this episode, we've actually got something pretty neat. Talking about What If Season 2.
Yeah, that was a cool holiday gift for me. Every episode for a day until the 30th.
It was like, what, 9 episodes?
9 episodes, so it started on the 21st.
Ish, give or take.
But there's the pause again.
What'd you think about the episodes?
It was great. It made, I know I haven't been talking great about the MCU lately, but it just made me feel like, oh, this is awesome. This is what makes me excited about the MCU.
An event like this, I feel, was meant to kind of bring the community back a little bit, because they've been a little lackluster on some of their movies and other TV shows. But this is kind of a big way for them to be like, hey, we still want to make good content, and instead of making you guys wait a week per episode or whatever the original What If Season 1, had them doing. Now it was like, here's 9 episodes back to back to back. Enjoy.
Honestly, it was so great that they were back to back, because these episodes definitely do not feel like I shouldn't have waited a week to watch a 30-minute episode.
But each episode was unique, it felt, right?
It was unique, yeah.
Did you have any particular ones that were your favorites or your least favorite?
Honestly, the episode 3, What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas? That was honestly a surprise.
Was that the Die Hard one?
Die Hard.
Esque, kind
of... Happy Hogan turned into the Freak, like a purple Hulk.
Which I actually saw a couple clips of that. It was pretty good.
We also got a continuation of Captain Carter. And she becomes super cool later.
Oh, are we talking about the final episode?
Well, we'll get to it.
Well, yeah, we'll get there, but that was a really, really cool episode. I wasn't expecting that. What about, a least favorite episode? I mean, they were all probably pretty big hits, but...
Mine is, unfortunately, number 4. What If Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster?
Okay.
It's, so the Season 1 season finale, we got to meet, Gamora, who killed Thanos.
Okay.
We never saw her in that episode. And it's like, oh, where does she come from? So going into this, I knew who she was, what the episode was kind of about.
Okay, what else, what exactly does it mean by Iron Man crashing into him?
So you know how Thor went to Sakaar and met the Hulk there?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That Grandmaster.
Oh,
so
okay.
Before...
That makes sense.
So during the first Avengers movie, when he was taking the missile to kill the Chitauri, he didn't make it back to Earth. He landed in Sakaar through portals.
Oh, and that's how he ran to the Grandmaster.
Gamora wants to kill him for him defeating Thanos' plan of using Loki to take over Earth. And he makes the Sakaar Hulkbuster suit that turns into a race car.
Turns into a race car. I mean, that's just Tony Stark for you, man. At that point.
So just because I knew it was coming, I knew what the story was mostly about. It wasn't that exciting.
Okay. So, I mean, still probably a good episode, but just not quite as standout as some of the other ones.
But the best episode is number 6. What if Kahorhe, really hoping I'm saying that name right, reshaped the world. So in this universe, Asgard went through, what's it called?
Ragnarok?
Ragnarok.
Okay, so Asgard went through Ragnarok.
So Surtur destroyed the Tesseract.
Ooh,
and it fell into a lake in early times America, before it was even America,
Okay, so way back then.
forms a portal to another world where that world's combined with the Tesseract's, as we know as the Space Stone powers.
Okay.
So, Kahorhe lands in this other world, gets the Space Stone powers, and the entire time the episode is spoken in Mohawk.
Is that the language?
Yes.
100%. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I did look it up,
Okay.
and the multiple of YouTubers that I watch did say Mohawk language a lot.
Okay, so she's the new Marvel hero then, right?
She's completely new. She was made for this What If episode. And
Okay.
of course, Spain was trying to rule them, take over their resources. They were speaking in Spain?
Spanish?
Spanish? Oh.
I really hope it's a bit, man. Yeah. They were speaking in Spanish.
Yeah, it's a bit, of course.
Yeah. No, they totally were. Yeah, it was Spanish. I'm assuming.
There was number 7. What if Hela found the 10 rings? Which I was a little disappointed that she didn't actually get the 10 rings on herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she, at the end of it, she becomes like white Hela.
Okay, so just godly Hela, like good Hela,
Yeah.
I'm guessing?
Which will come back to her later. Yeah, by the way, she's good instead of evil now.
Interesting.
There was a cool, like, noir cop episode in the first one with Nebula. It's like, what if Ronan was almost successful in destroying the Nova Corps, so they trapped themselves in a bubble for 5 years? 10?
Probably 10.
What if the Avengers assembled earlier, so it was different people, and Star-Lord as a kid was the menace because he met up with his father.
Okay.
So you had like the Wakandan king, I think was the grandfather to the Black Panther that we know. Hank Pym, Goliath, Winter Soldier.
Interesting. It's a huge cast of people.
And then we go to the finale episode, which you watched, right?
Yeah, I watched it. It was insane.
Just seeing, I call him Strange Supreme. I think he has like an official title.
Probably, but that'd be the best way that I would know you're talking about him.
I was really sad to see that he let his grief overpower him and he became a bad guy.
Yep, I was not quite ready for that because it seemed like he was going to be the good guy.
I thought it was going to be like Guardians of the Multiverse Chapter 2. Because in the Kahore episode, Strange appeared and was like, I've been looking for you. It was like, oh, a team up. Let's go.
But then you find out that it turns out that he just kidnapped her essentially and trapped her.
He kidnapped her. He was taking both universe killers and heroes and trying to fuel his machine.
It was the Forge. So he had the Forge and he had it activated and was feeding or planning on feeding the universe killers and the heroes to the Forge to recreate his universe.
Which we saw he calls it his Sanctorum Infinitum, I think it was. He had a lot of prisoners.
It was insane amount.
I would feel comfortable saying it seemed like he had over like 100,000-ish.
Probably.
Like that kind of ridiculous number. I was surprised that it took that many people to power his forge.
I mean, to be fair, you are building a universe, is what he was. At least that's what it seemed like to me. He was trying to rebuild his whole universe because he couldn't just rebuild one segment of it. So the amount of like souls and power you would have to use to power this forge to create a universe would be astronomical.
Yeah.
Especially given a lot of the villains that we did see had like multiple sets of the Infinity Stones or, you know, other magical objects.
Which, by the way, those aren't supposed to work.
Yeah, outside of their universe.
Yes. Which is... I think we could just throw that rule out now. I think Infinity Stones just work whenever they want to now.
Yeah, I think canonically it's whenever they want to work, they work now, and they call it, you can't do anything about it.
Just to see Thanos with all 6 stones, Infinity Killmonger come back.
Yep.
In one of the bubbles, we did see Infinity Ultron. So we had multiple characters with all 6 Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and he needed multiple characters with these Infinity Stones to power his forge. Like, that was an insane amount of power.
He even had Captain Marvel there. They had Thor's. It's either a Hulk with Thor powers or a Thor with Hulk powers there.
Whenever someone decides to take the time to go through and analyze what each one of these characters was and what their power, like where they're from, that's going to be insane. Because I don't know that much information.
But no Thor with a Stormbreaker. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, Stormbreaker Thor was seen as inferior. Is what I'm getting from that.
But, yeah, you also had these characters with infinity powers as well. And just gods. But then also just regular minions as well. You saw the Shatari, the Dark Elves, some nameless scrolls.
You saw Rocket with a really, really large gun on his shoulder.
Why couldn't we have an episode with that Rocket? I feel like that's what if Groot actually died.
Yeah, and Rocket just like lost his mind to Groot. Oh, yeah.
So at the ending of it, it was really funny that Jorge took Infinity Killmonger out of his suit.
Yeah.
Because in the season 1 finale, he was fighting Vision with the Hydra agent took over his body and was trying to take the stones away.
Okay.
You didn't watch the season 1, did you?
No, I did not.
I forget the Hydra agent's name. He's very important in the comics, but I don't care right now.
He's very important to the comics, but he's probably not important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We know there's one of him remaining in Russia right now. Okay. Because we can also say what if is now canonically connected to the MCU. They're not just
yeah, we can.
They're not just animated shows anymore.
I think some of them could be, but some of them definitely are connected now.
So Peggy takes Infinity Killmonger stones, and we get Infinity Peggy, which I don't know if that's her official title. She's probably going to be what the Funko Pops say.
Probably. I mean, she took the whole suit of armor, to be fair.
And then they're fighting Strange Supreme. Big battle. He teleports all the heroes and universe killers, trying to feed the Forge. They start doing this up and down sequence, trying to teleport them away.
Yeah, basically, like, the Strange just has them all falling into the Forge instead of just teleporting them directly into the Forge, which makes me feel like that there has to be some sort, there has to be, to some extent, some amount of, ability to decline going into the Forge, but obviously since they're falling under magical powers, they can't, so they're forced into the Forge. And then him and Peggy are just going back and forth, like using the using the stones, using time, using magic, trying to push them out of the Forge, into the Forge, out of the Forge, portal them home.
And it was just so fun because they started throwing like their weapons at Peggy and Jorge to, hey, like power up, defeat this guy, help us, give him hell with one L.
So then you get Peggy with not only the Infinity armor, but
the Throke, That sounds bad.
Is
But
that what the sword was?
I think that's what the Hulk Thor was. Throk. I think you just combined the two's names.
Okay.
His sword, which I don't know the name of, and Hela's helmet. And Kohorhe cheats by using space stone powers to pick up Mjolnir.
Yeah, to pick up Mjolnir and wield it.
And
But to be fair, she probably would have been worthy. And it was also looked like a dark Mjolnir of some extent, so...
and then she grabbed the 10 rings, which was just really fun to see other people's weapons in other hands.
Yeah, to be used. Because it also could be to some extent like that Thor was giving them, like, here, you can use this. I deem you worthy for this fight in particular. But yeah, it's just like Space Stone powers. Now I have Mjolnir. Like, what? What?
So, obviously, they beat Strange Supreme. Everybody goes back. Don't know if we saw any characters actually die.
Didn't seem like it.
Wish it would have been White Hela, though, that gave up her helmet.
Yeah, but I don't think White Hela would have been seen as a world destroyer or world ender.
But so. Kohorhe told us he was grabbing heroes as well.
Yeah, but we didn't... I don't think we particularly saw the heroes during the breakout.
Why was Captain Marvel? Why was Cowboy Loki there?
Oh, I didn't even notice them, I'll be honest. I didn't notice that Cowboy Loki.
Why was Kohorhe there? Like, she wasn't a universe killer.
She was the hero, but she wasn't part of the breakout point. Because the breakout was Peggy throwing the shield and smashing some of the prison orbs that were specifically seemed to be the World Ender section.
Well, no, he was trying to capture her as well. That's what the crystal forming around her was.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know. I guess I just misunderstood that episode, that portion of the episode. I thought they were just had the breakout of the bad guys.
There's no way a Cowboy Loki could be a universe killer.
Could have been. Could have been. Could have been a universe killer. You don't know this. You don't know for a fact.
It ends with Strange Supreme's world coming back. He was just never born in it. And the Watcher seems like season 3. The Watcher takes Peggy around to different multiverses to look at them. Because they show off the Yggdrasil. Wait, is that how it's called?
I think it's Yggdrasil or something like that.
Ah.
I don't know why I thought it was Yggdrasil, but it's Yggdrasil or something like that.
Which was the season finale of Loki season 2. So now we have that branch connecting What If to Loki, which Loki is connected to the mainline MCU. So it's just nice to have that connective point.
That we've been waiting 2 seasons for to finally get. But it's here.
And we know season 3's coming out because they just released a clip showing a scene of, like, what if the super soldiers were hunted or something?
Ooh, that could
because
be
we had Red Guardian and Winter Soldier, or Bucky Barnes, whichever version he is at that point, teaming up.
Oh.
And the Red Guardian did look younger than his Black Widow
counterpart.
Yes.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
So it's probably happening more in the past than the current timeline.
But that means that now, theoretically, any What If episode that we see could be connected to the main MCU. So now you have to really pay attention to each episode.
So, as you know, we know the next 2 Avengers movies are Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which Kang Dynasty might be renamed.
I thought they did have an actor replacing that. I thought there was news on an actual actor confirmed to be replacing, but I could be wrong.
I haven't seen such a thing.
Okay.
It does seem like, because Jonathan Majors was charged with, I think, 1 count, they're just dropping him.
Which, that makes sense now. Now they've got the official charge.
There's rumors that because he went in knowing Kang was a time traveler / multiversal hero, or, sorry, villain, not hero, he put it in his contract, like, you cannot have anybody else play Kang for like plus years.
Ah.
So Kang might be out, so it might be Avengers something in the future.
They might just focus more on the Secret War aspect than the
It might become
multiverse.
Secret Wars 1 and 2. Kind
Which,
of
I mean,
like
wouldn't
how
be bad.
Infinity War and Endgame used to be called Part 1, Part 2 type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible idea. It would allow them to hone in more on Secret Wars and make it like a bigger spectacle than what we were first imagining.
So, Secret Wars is where, in the comics, two universes were fighting each other, but we don't really have a second universe at this point to fight the MCU. So it might just become a multiversal war. So I'm really hoping to see Jorge in live action.
Ooh, I still want to see the X-Men, even though I really doubt we're getting them.
No, we got them.
See.
The Marvel's end credit scene showed us Beast and Sunflare, I think.
Oh yeah, and I guess Multiverse of Madness technically shows Professor X.
Deadpool 3 is coming out, which is now part of Marvel's movie.
We don't know if it's connected to the MCU specifically yet, though.
But thanks to Venom showing up in the MCU, we know all these multiverses are connected. Spider-Verse even talks about...
They're connected, but how much are we going to get connection before they're like, we don't agree with how Sony wants things done, so we're not going to allow their characters into our universe.
There's actually rumors that they're talking with Sam Raimi. No, that's the guy who made the movie, right?
Oh, but when you go
Tobey
into directors
Maguire?
and stuff,
Is that... Yeah, Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man.
There's talks about him being the leader of the Avengers for Secret Wars. So, when I say they're talking about bringing everything, like,
wow,
they might be bringing... Because remember, they got to bring a step up to Endgame.
But here's the thing. How many steps further can they go?
I don't know. Because, as we've talked about, the movies are not as great anymore. They don't have these They don't have these connective points, like in the What If Season 2 finale and Loki finale. A lot of them are just standalones. There was not one single episode of What If Season 2 that even referenced the Eternals, by the way.
Yeah, the Eternals just kind of seem like it came out, now done. Like there's nothing to do with them.
I have no idea if Eternals 2 is even happening anymore.
I mean, Eternals 1 didn't really seem to get that much, like, fanfare for it. Like, people didn't seem to enjoy it as much as their other movies because the quality of the movie was so far down. Because, as we've talked about in the past, when they've made these movies leading up to Avengers and Endgame and Infinity War and all that, each character had their own spotlight before they got thrown into the group. Relatively. I mean, there were a couple characters that didn't have, like, their own spotlight. They were more like side characters in movies, but they had enough of a spotlight that it's like the people knew them. But then you make something like the Eternals, and you throw 12 or whatever it was.
It was 8, I think.
8 brand new characters just directly at the audience, and you're trying to flush them all out in a 2-hour movie. It's just not going to work. You need your own branch-off movies to make the characters more lovable. If they had had a couple movies before then that introduced the Eternals, I don't know how they would have done it, but if they would have found a way and made the Eternals more of a loved characters, then the movie would have done better.
It would have been cooler if they were in the background of a couple shots. It's like, why is this like A+ actors just in the background? Like, what's that for?
Oh, I get what you mean.
And then Eternals happens, like, that's why she was there. Oh, they've been watching.
Would have been 100% better. People would have loved the movie. It would have picked up so much more. But they didn't do that, which is kind of what my fear is for this stuff going forward. Is like, you're going to throw in all of these characters, and if you don't flush them out enough, it's not going to make sense to your average audience member that doesn't read the comics or watch the cartoons and is just there for the entertainment of that movie.
I honestly don't know if the MCU is going to survive in next saga, to be honest.
this is going to be a big push for them. I mean, if they do well, I think MCU can do whatever they want going forward, and it'll make more sense, and it'll do better. But I think this is like their big turning point right now, at least in my mind, where like if they screw up even a little bit and they lose like the majority of their base audience that don't read the comics, don't watch the cartoons, are just there because they love the movies because they're good, then it's going to flop forever. I think this is their Hail Mary.
Yeah. That's everything I have about What If Season 2.
I mean, I don't have any more input to put in for Marvel itself right at the moment just because we'll wait and see. They're not doing enough movies, and they're not doing enough good movies currently. So I'm just waiting to see what their next big step is after What If Season 2.
They might need to pull what James Gunn is doing with DC.
Just a restart?
Not that, but
Okay.
he's going to combine both animated movies with live action.
Split them up a little bit, make it easier.
Split them up because it felt easier to tell the story like in What If style. So if they made like a movie, but then bring the characters to live action when they need to,
It'd be better.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all we've got for you guys today.
See ya.
Bye.